Hello. I just finished teaching a class for Clarion West. That was a three-parter on editing. And it occurred to me that one of the things that I showed them is something that not everybody knows about, but what uh, I think is super useful. And in fact, I just did it with the novel that I just turned in, the sequel to You Sexy Thing. Hooray! So I wanted to show you how I use the word frequency count feature in Scrivener as part of my edit. So I'm going to share screen. See if that works. Where are you? Here we go. And what I've done here is I could have made this a Scrivener project full of scenes, but what I did in order to generate this count, because I was working with a manuscript in Microsoft Word, is I basically cut and pasted it all into one scene. And you'll notice this is 75,000 words long, which makes it one of the longest scenes known to humanity. So how do you do this thing? First, you, of course, select all, you go up to projects, and you click on statistics. And usually word frequency count doesn't appear like this, right? It's vanished. You're like, where is it? And then you click on this, hooray. And what you want to do is, of course, look at it by count. And all of this stuff up here at the top, totally useless. This is pointless. Don't bother, right? You're just like, how many times do I need And you may notice some stuff here uh, in terms of character representation as you drill down. And Atlanta here is not Atlanta, Georgia, but is Atlanta the name of a character. So there's a name of another character. So I know she gets referenced more than this character, Dabry. Okay, Thing is the name of the ship. Jesley's another character. Okay, so I keep going, and I'm really not going to notice anything significant here. But there is a point where we start to notice some useful stuff. Okay, so looked. For some reason in this manuscript, I've used the word looked 76 times. That's an awful lot. And I think I'll probably want to do a pass at some point where I go through and find more interesting ways, maybe some more interesting verbs. So looked is not, is an item for me. Gate, I know why gate, right? Because there's these space gates that they go through and they talk about them a lot. So that seems reasonable to me. Character names. Sometimes, wow, that's an interesting, sometimes is appearing 61 times. Yeah, that's a lot. I'll probably want to look at that. Face appearing 60 times. Well, that's interesting. I think I'm probably doing some body language thing where that's appearing. Perhaps, you know. So I'm looking for stuff that it's popping up in what I consider an unreasonable amount of times. And so here we're not seeing anything. This is fine. Voice 43 times. That's interesting. We'll take a look at that. Chapter, of course, appears 41 times because there's 41 chapters. All right, so you're going. Brother, okay, that makes sense. Paladin, Patalia. You're learning what the whole book contains here, right? And we're going down, and here again, as we continue, we begin to see some places where it may be useful to say, hey, there's an awful lot of those. Not that I'm running across any. The conversation, conversation 22 times. That's interesting that it would happen that many times. It's a pretty long word. If this was not a restaurant-based novel, I might worry about kitchen appearing 21 times. All right. So then you get to the point where you are, again, some of this stuff is not particularly useful as we drill down, but we're going to keep going because there is a very good reason to keep going. And it doesn't happen until we get pretty far down. Right, all of this seems reasonable. Things in the 11s and 10s. I'm not seeing anything that I am too freaked out by. I noticed in a earlier pass that doorway had appeared like 50 some times. So I will probably do a pass because it's clear to me from that that I have a lot of doorway appearances. Okay, so we keep going. God damn, there's a lot of these. So let's just actually probably shouldn't do this, but I don't want to speed things. Okay, so we get down into the threes. And this is where you're going to notice, for example, let's say you have a name that is spelled one way, one a lot of the time, and another way, another of the time. So this is a term. I need to check that because I know it appears more than this in the course of the manuscript. I think it's referenced 4 or 5 times. So I need to go back and make sure that that's consistently spelled. And now I'm regretting sending it off to the editor already because clearly that's an issue. But the thing here is this is when you get down to these solo things, this is where you're going to find a lot of typos. Let's just go ahead and pop down to the ones. No, of course do I have typos? Surely not. Oh, but AppSat. Okay, I know that name is actually RPAT. Uh, so I'm going to have to go back and fix that. Teas, perfume, loquacious. Okay, so I'm not seeing a whole bunch. That's kind of funny. With so many M's. And I think that's pretty much it. But I would go through it if I had more time pretty stringently in order to find typos, because this is where they're going to appear. And this is where you're going to find misspellings of names, and you're going to find a lot of inconsistency. So the gold really lies kind of midway through the list. You're going to find some more kind of as you keep on going down, but all the typo stuff, particularly name stuff, is going to appear there at the bottom. So is this something I run on a draft as soon as I finished one? Not usually. This is something that I would do after a developmental edit, after I've moved big scenes around. Maybe I have eliminated stuff. And the reason is you kind of work from the outside in. You work from the big items where you may jettison pages and pages into kind of finer and finer details, because you don't want to waste a lot of effort polishing sentences that you're about to cut out of the manuscript. That is common sense. So, will I do this with the manuscript? You betcha. But as I said, I just turned it in, so I'm going to follow another one of my recommended practices and let myself do some other more fun things today. So, there you have it. All right. Thanks. Oh, if you enjoyed this, if you want more content like this, talking about editing and how you edit, like and subscribe and comment and do all the good stuff. All right. Thank you. Bye bye.